Welcome back to the deep dive. And we're doing something a little different today. Usually we're tearing apart, business trends or scientific papers. But today we're heading into the snow-swept wilds of a fantasy setting. Alanthea.
Yeah.
We're looking at a narrative piece. It's called A Meeting of Fates by Paul DeMarino. Now, before you tune out thinking this is just some bedtime story, I want to frame the mission here. We're actually analyzing this as a study in, power creep and tactical evolution. It's a story about two old friends reuniting, sure. But underneath all that, it's a manual on how asymmetrical warfare works when you've got magic involved.
That is the perfect way to frame it. I mean, on the surface, yeah, DeMarino gives us a classic reunion trope. But if you look at the mechanics, the gear, the spell choices, the way the enemies behave, it's actually a really tense standoff. It's all about how the geopolitical landscape of this world is shifting. It's less about the handshake and more about what weapons they're holding while they shake hands.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We aren't starting with a big battle or anything.
No.
We are starting with exhaustion. We have a character, Grief Dark Blazon, literally collapsing onto a snow-covered boulder. And right away, the text makes a point about his age. It says he's 97. Now, I'm not an expert on fantasy biology, but 97 is like a toddler for an elf, isn't it?
That's the catch, yeah. Biologically, he's a young adult. But the text really emphasizes his frail elven bones and, more importantly, his mental fatigue. He isn't suffering from old age. He's suffering from mileage. He's feeling the crushing weight of the last decade. He's been a wanderer, a sort of hedge wizard living rough. He's just burned out.
He's definitely cynical. I laughed at his eternal monologue. He's sitting there freezing, looking down this valley. And he thinks the dumbest thing he ever did in his 97 years was leaving home. He actually invokes a curse on himself. May Lukos damn me if I ever leave again.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty heavy. Who's Lukos?
Okay, so that is a very specific, very bad name to drop. In Lanthian lore, Lukos is the god of lies, betrayal, and the undead. You don't say that name lightly. It just shows you how absolutely desperate Grief is for stability. He's willing to mortgage his soul to a literal god of corruption just to stay put for a while.
And the place he wants to stay, Icemule Trace. It sounds incredible. The description is just so evocative.
Yeah.
DeMarino writes that the mountains lovingly nestled the city like a mother would cradle a babe.
It creates such a stark contrast, doesn't it?
It really does.
Outside the city where Grief is, it's this frozen, hostile wasteland. But inside, you've got the sweet aroma of home fires and lights blinking on. It represents safety, civilization, warmth. It's a classic literary technique, using the environment to mirror what the character wants. He wants that cradle.
Which he immediately ruins by worrying about his furniture.
It grounds him, He's a powerful sorcerer, but he's worried about a roof leak and water damage to his sofa.
Right.
It's a very human moment in this high fantasy setting.
But the pity party gets interrupted. Someone tries to get the drop on him. He hears a voice snickering, "You'll never learn, elf." Now walk me through Grief's reaction here, because this is where we see he's not just some frail traveler.
This is our first real tactical insight. An amateur would jump, right, or scream, or spin around. Grief doesn't move a muscle.
Nothing.
The text says he begins his incantations without any outward sign. This is like subtle magic 101. He's preparing a counterattack while looking completely helpless.
And the payoff is immediate. He releases these dark, ethereal waves. What is that exactly? A mental attack.
It's a concussive force. Think of it as a sorcerer class spell that's focused on physical disruption. It's not a fireball meant to kill. It's a wave of kinetic energy designed to knock a hidden enemy out of their spot. And it works perfectly. It blasts the intruder right out of a tree shadow.
And that intruder, of course, turns out to be his old buddy, Levin Darkhider.
The reunion is just classic. Levin is on the ground, groaning and rubbing his back, but he still manages to snarl, "Well met, Grief." It's that kind of aggressive male bonding thing, They show affection through insults and fake violence.
I want to focus on the visual contrast here.
Yeah.
Because DeMarino spends a lot of time describing how these two look.
Yeah.
And it feels really intentional. Grief is in a hooded cloak. He's got a bone-hilted dagger. He looks like a hobo.
He really does.
But Levin looks like he just robbed a palace.
He basically is the palace now. Levin is wearing a midnight blue cloak with a gold-threaded stocking panther on it. But the key detail, the thing you have to notice, is the fabric of his shirt and pants.
Venium leaf. I've flanged that word, venium. It sounds important. Is that just a fancy way of saying silk?
Oh, it's much more than silk. In this world, venium is a specialized material. Think of it like a magical, ultra-lightweight mithril weave. It weighs almost nothing that gives you incredible warmth and even some protection. It's incredibly expensive.
Ah.
So wearing a full suit of it is a massive status symbol. It tells everyone you have access to rare trade routes or to significant wealth.
And his boots are polished like mirrors.
Exactly. He's not crawling through dungeons anymore. He's walking on marble floors. And then he drops the bomb.
He's the Lord of Icemule Trace.
Yep.
The way he got the job is interesting. He mentions the previous guy, Lord Disman, got wiped out in an ice giant raid.
Which is just thrown away as a casual detail. Like, oh, it's just your standard Tuesday ice giant raid.
Right. But Lovin says he was popular among the city folk, so they made him Lord. It sounds almost like democratic.
It's a meritocracy of the frontier. In the wild north, you don't care about bloodlines. You care about who can keep the walls standing. Lovind, being this high-level rogue who is both popular and competent, was the natural choice to fill that power vacuum.
So we have the sorcerer who wants to retire, and the rogue who accidentally became a king.
Pretty much.
But just as they're catching up, the whole tone shifts. The sun sets, Lovin stops joking around. He warns Grief that the wilds aren't safe anymore because the orcs have a little force.
And this is the core conflict of the story. Grief just dismisses it. He has this preconceived idea of orcs as bumbling, snout-nosed creatures who are way too stupid to organize.
Which is a pretty standard fantasy trope, right?
Yeah.
Orcs are usually just cannon fodder.
Usually. But Lovin is telling him that the whole ecosystem has changed. The fact that they're operating in a force implies hierarchy, leadership, and strategy. That is terrifying.
And right on cue, we hear the snow crunch. Enter the silverback orcs. Now, describe these guys for me, because they don't sound like the green-skinned grunts I'm picturing.
No, they're distinct. The text calls them silverback orcs for a reason. They have metallic silver skin that reflects the sunlight like actual metal. They're muscular, they stand upright, and they're very humanoid.
And they speak common. One of them yells, "Don't move, we seen you three."
And there's that little glimmer of the old world. They can speak, but they can't count.
Right.
There are only 2 of them, but the orc counts 3. It's this tiny moment of levity. Grief and Lovin actually giggle at it, but it's the last funny thing that happens for a while.
Let's break down this skirmish, because this is where I think the real deep dive value is. They're outnumbered 5-2. Grief is a caster, Lovin is melee. They're out in the open. Tactically, this is a bad spot, right?
It's terrible. I mean, if the orcs have spears or bows, Grief is just a soft target. He needs time to cast his big spells, so what do?
They manipulate them.
Exactly. They manipulate the psychology of the enemy.
Grief starts screaming, "Please don't hurt us."
It's a feint. He plays the coward. And Lovin picks up on it instantly, which shows you their synergy. They don't even discuss a plan. Lovin just starts offering them silvers and riches.
And it works because of the clothes, right?
Yeah.
The orcs see that Venium suit and the gold thread.
Greed overrides tactical caution. The lead orc, who is described with this disgusting pig nose and steaming breath, he lowers his guard. The text says they approach with excited whines. They think it's a simple robbery.
Yeah.
They close the distance, which is exactly what Lovin wants.
And then snap. Grief just whispers, "Close your eyes."
So simple, so efficient. Grief unleashes a blinding bolt of light. It's a classic flashbang tactic. If you're a rogue like Lovin, fighting blind enemies is basically a buffet.
Okay, let's look at Lovin's engagement here. He's got twin scimitars. One of them is glowing with an angry blue light.
That's an elemental flare, probably cold or electricity. It just adds extra damage on impact. So he charges the lead orc, and the text describes it as pure savage fury.
The finisher on this lead orc is gruesome. DiMarino breaks it down move by move. Lovin feints a double jab to the body. The orc drops its shield to block, and then Lovin spins and just slashes an X across the throat.
It's a textbook rogue maneuver. You create an opening with a bluff, you exploit the lowered defense, and you strike a vital point. It's not about overpowering the enemy. It's about precision.
But he gets tunnel vision. He's so focused on that one kill that he totally misses the guy behind him with a massive two-handed axe.
And that's the danger of dual wielding. You don't have a shield. You have 0 rear defense. The text says Lovin wasn't agile enough to dodge or strong enough to deflect.
He was dead.
He was completely dead. Until the sorcerer steps in.
The synergy again. Grief doesn't shout a warning, he just acts. He hits the attacker with a spell that engulfs it in flame and electricity. The body falls with a sickening sizzle.
I love that image of Grief just standing there, kind of shrugging, while steam rises from the melting snow around him. It's the difference between, kinetic energy and potential energy. Lovin is all motion. Grief is stillness until he just explodes.
Precisely. But the fight isn't over. There is one orc left.